Hello, everyone. So everyone's going to join us slowly but surely. We'll give them a moment to hop on. I'm so happy you're here to join us, Adrienne.
Yeah, I'm so excited
Yay!
to be here. It's gonna be fun.
Yes. So and I'm going to just check, this is like live streaming faux pas, right? I'm going to check on my
No, I get
phone.
it. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yes, exactly. I know we're super, super live. So I just want to also, there's someone who's joining us. If you're here and you're joining us, say hi, family and friends. I know you haven't seen me in a hot second, but as per usual, I am here with some super awesome goodness today, this Friday. And we're going to have superstar Adrienne Johnson talk to us about creating courses and tech and her journey as an entrepreneur and everything that has contributed to her success today.
Definitely.
Yay! So excited to have you, Adrienne. If you are here, let us know you're here. We are using StreamYard, so sometimes there's a little button you have to push for us to see your beautiful faces if you want to share your comments with the rest of the world. Come on, guys, let us know you're here. We see you. Awesome. So, Adrienne, really quickly, as we get started, can you go ahead and give us a little introduction about yourself? Tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you do in your business.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Michelle. This is so great. I've never used StreamYard before, so I'm like, oh, this is so fancy. But I'm Adrienne Johnson. I'm a course creation expert. By day, I work for a top tier tech company writing courses for their sales enablement, which is learning. And then at night, I help entrepreneurs write their courses. So this is something I'm really passionate about. I love writing courses. I love courses in general, and I believe in the power of courses. And I think courses get a bad rep sometimes. I'm trying to help I'm trying to help entrepreneurs fix some of these major issues that cause people to kind of fear taking courses. So that's my main goal. So I'm really glad to be here.
Awesome. So why courses? What made you dive into that space?
Well, it's been a little bit of a long road. Actually, when I initially went to college, I started out as a music education major because I wanted to go into education, and all of my grandparents are educators. So I always wanted to kind of focus on educating, but I realized quickly that teaching K-12 was not for me. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I actually don't love kids, but I love the aspect of teaching and just helping people understand difficult concepts. But I wanted to do it in kind of the way that I wanted to. So as I went forward, I ended up getting an English degree. Because I decided, okay, let me back off from teaching, but then I came back to it later on after I took the Rachel Rogers Multiply course in 2017.
Oh, we love Rachel Rogers here.
Yeah. So I took that course. That's got me. I was more interested in the process of creating courses than I was actually interested in creating my own course. And so from there, I ended up finding the instructional design / technical writing fields, which allow you to actually create learning in fun ways, in non-traditional ways, for a living. So that's why I was like, well, this is perfect. This is how I want to kind of move forward in my career. So from there, I started working for a top company, Salesforce. And then right now, that's what I do in my day job. I write modules in courses for Trailhead, which is their learning management system. So I wanted to take all the things from instructional design theory and everything like that to go and give it to entrepreneurs to actually learn how to create better courses themselves. So that's kind of my long short of it, is that I took a course that got me interested in the field again in a new way. And this is why I decided to do this.
Awesome. So you said that word that a lot of entrepreneurs are like, oh my gosh, you said I have a day job, right?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, how does she run a successful business with a day job? And I love the stories of those transitions. I screwed my 9 to 5 2 years ago. And it was
Yeah.
a crazy first year and a half, right? So you want to tell us a little bit about your journey and why and how you're managing both at the same time.
Yeah, sure. So like I started this business after like joining my 9 to 5. So I didn't do it intentionally thinking I was going to quit my 9 to 5. I actually love my job. I love the people I work with. I love the company I work for. So I actually started it just because I needed a distraction from COVID. And needed some time, like some hobby to kind of get me to kind of thinking about other things. I didn't want to focus on COVID. I didn't want to focus on like everything that was going on in the world. And so it ended up just being a great avenue for me to do that through. So balancing both is difficult, but one of my main core values in my business is margin, and then personal and profit margin. And so I try to like limit, projects that are going to take too much time away from the rest of my life outside of work. So I try to do both, but I'm not like super, super big into like the scaling aspect of my business just yet. I'm just trying to keep it manageable right now until if I decide to move on to something else. So that's kind of where I am right now.
I love that. I love it because people think you cannot love your day job and also have a successful business. So tell us, first of all, what do you love about your day job? Why do you stay there and run a successful business?
I mean, I feel like companies are learning this now, which I think is super important about the idea of being able to bring your whole self to work. And so the company I work for, Salesforce, is super big into bringing your full self to work and well-being, personal well-being, work-life balance. That's huge. And I don't think it's something that they just talk about, at least in my almost year of being here. I think they really try to practice the idea of like giving people space and time to deal with life in addition to working. And I think they found, and I think studies have shown that when you give people room to have their own life, they produce better. They produce better content. They produce, higher quality work. And so that's why I love working there. I get to interact with so many different people every day from around the world. And it's just an exciting job to be in. Yeah.
Awesome. And how would you say your job with Salesforce, amazing company? It's a tech company for anyone who doesn't know. CRMs is their jam for like a few decades now.
Yeah.
So how would you say your day job, either the skills you learn or the people you interact with, the people you've met, has helped you be a better entrepreneur?
Oh, totally. I mean, it's definitely helped me become more organized. That's the first thing, is like organization is key. And so seeing how they've organized things on their back end has helped me in my business replicate some of those systems to organize my own business on the side. So organization is key, and working with other people, I think, is huge. Being able to talk with people and being able to have like a very like emotional, intelligent conversation and being able to hear people and communicate, that's a huge, huge skill that I've learned. Even more so now that I've been working with Salesforce. So I definitely think that's like a huge benefit for me. Not to mention all of the other things that we do, internally working for like the curriculum and content design team is just all the things I've learned about learning content and creating learning content. That's helped me in my business outside of just being like an entrepreneur. So that's been great.
Awesome. So just like taking those skills and somehow applying them to the stuff that you absolutely love.
Yeah,
love it.
I do what I love all the time, which is great.
Yeah, amazing. And I've been there, right? And so for those of you who have a job that you love, like, or at least the paycheck, there's nothing wrong with sticking to it until your business either takes off or you're happy, or there's nothing wrong with staying with both of them. Your plan doesn't have to look like everyone else's plan.
Absolutely. Trust your gut, trust your instinct, and I think having my job has allowed me to take risks in my business that I wouldn't normally take because I'm not relying on it, on its own. So it's allowed me to kind of be able to try different things that I wouldn't feel comfortable trying before. So I think, in this early stage of my business, I think it's been helpful for me to still have still have my main job. So.
Love it. Okay, so now let's dive deep into your journey as an entrepreneur. Okay. What would you say has been your biggest success as an entrepreneur?
Definitely. My biggest success, my biggest success has been, I could there's a couple different ones. The first one is like a financial success. So I've made, total $45,000 in the last 3 months, I think, or July. So, that's been a big hurdle for me. And it's big for me, and maybe that's not big for everyone, but it was big for me because when I started out, about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, I was a virtual assistant, and I was working a terrible hourly job, which at a call center, and I was miserable. And so struggling in my business in those early years, helped me learn so much about the online marketing space and the online space in general, that I've been able to kind of, in this business, just kind of nix everything that I don't need, because I already know which routes those different shiny objects lead toward. So I think that's been my second biggest success, is just feeling super blinders on. I know exactly what I want my business to be this time around. And so I think that's probably the bigger win. So
yay. So that's the bigger win. Love it. So, but let's talk money talks, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So tell the people, they want to know, how did you, in this crazy time of COVID, how did you make $45,000 in 3 months in your business? What was your secret sauce?
Yeah, absolutely. I love to tell people, I want everybody to win. You know what I mean? So for me, what I did first was I invested. So I know that's not a super big thing, but I invested into a membership that helped me, gave me access to people I could get feedback from. So I did research on the business and what people needed from the service that I provide. And so I had to get access to that group, right? So I did that by paying a membership fee. So that was total $3,000. So after I did that, I went ahead and launched my stuff and figured out, what I was going to sell and who I was going to sell it to. Got really clear on my copy. And I think that's a huge thing that people people know they need copywriters, but it's not a super easy thing to do, but it's way easier when you know exactly who you're speaking to. And it doesn't mean demographics as white women who, it's just what are their pain points? What are the things that people are really struggling with? And how can you speak to that? So I got really clear on my copy. The third thing I did was I sold a high ticket offer. The easiest way to make a lot of money is selling high ticket stuff. And that doesn't mean that you're just I'm just going to slap a super big price on something that's kind of random. No, you have to be really deliberate. You have to be deliberate. For some reason, you have to be really deliberate about what your offer is and how it's going to help your client. And you have to deliver on it. You can't just make promises and not follow through. It has to be, complete. So I sold a mid four figure offer from that time until now. And so that's been my biggest thing and I think people need the service. So you need to make sure you understand that people do need what you want to sell. And that's been the biggest thing that I've done to get to my little coins.
Yeah, and it's not little, right? If you're comparing yourself to other people, it's little coins, but $45,000 in your business in 3 months is great, right? So we're going to break down this secret sauce.
Totally.
So you said first you invested in yourself, right? So you hired a coach, you went with the membership. For those who don't know, you've seen me post about it before. We're in the same Schmilly group. So we believe we love Rachel Rogers. We should all be millionaires. She's an amazing coach. And so you invested in yourself. Why was that super important? And how did that help you? Besides in front of the audience that needed to be there, what did it do for you?
That, first of all, I think there were a lot of mental blocks that I had to get through in order to believe I was worth what I was charging. That was the biggest thing. Yeah, the accountability was key. Accountability was key. Getting past the mindset blocks was key. For me, I had never made that kind of money. So And I'm fully, I like to be fully transparent with people. Like I had, I come from a middle class background, but I had never made that kind of money. I'd never known anyone to make that kind of money outside of people who were just, friends of friends or whatever. But like, so it was foreign to me. And so in order for me to get my mindset ready to kind of be like, I can do this, I had to really in a community that kind of valued that. And I personally believe that, when people of color, when Black women especially make more money, the world is a better place. Not to mention reparations have not been paid, and not to mention that, we do a lot for the world that we live in. We vote for people in order to save other people for voting for people that don't represent their best interests. So we put a lot into this world. And it's okay for us to receive from that as well. So that's kind of, my mentality around it. But I had to be in that environment first to kind of allow for that to kind of come in for me. So that was the main thing for me, for sure.
Love it. And so I say the biggest takeaway is that get around like-minded people and be around people who are going to help push you forward.
Big time.
Awesome. And accountability was huge.
Accountability was major. I got into a group of other Schmillies who are in Indiana. I'm in that group. I'm in a couple other accountability groups too. And so it's just nice to be able to just have someone to bounce ideas off of, people who, will be able to like give you good advice or just, be a shoulder to cry on, if you need one.
Exactly. Women in business, we cry. Okay.
We do, and that's okay.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay, so number 2, you said you were very clear on your copy. Yes. And you said a word that in there that some people are like, all right, we get it. You said that word demographic, right? And so who's your demographic and how did you pinpoint exactly who they were?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I matched up like the service that I wanted to provide with the people I wanted to work with. So, and my expertise, right? So you have to factor in like what you're good at, and for me, I feel like I am, pretty a good expert at like B2B entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurs who are trying to help other entrepreneurs make more money, whether that's through services, whether that's through coaching, that type of thing. Those are the people that I feel very comfortable with serving because I understand the market. I understand what the industry is like. So I know that is my area. So based on that, I know those are the people that I'm trying to attract, but also I had to know exactly what was causing them problems when it comes to courses. So with courses, people have problems finishing a course. People have problems writing courses. People have problems finishing courses because people have problems writing courses. How can I solve these problems? Everybody knows that, courses and, one-to-many formats are the best way to kind of scale a business and move forward. Mm-hmm. So how is I going to be able to, take what I know, and the information that I have, the intelligence that I have, and package that content in a way for entrepreneurs to be able to understand and speak to specifically what their pain points were. So that's how I got my copy together. Now I'm a writer, so I think, I do this as a professional, like I'm, a professional writer, but, if you can get a copywriter, if you can get someone who can like figure out how to pull those things out of you and get your copy together, I would suggest doing it.
Because it's so much harder, right? So like saying you're a copywriter, it's so much harder writing copy for your own business.
Absolutely. Totally. And I had spreadsheets, of interviews that I'd done with people when I was doing market research that helped me write the copy that I was writing on my website. So I just kept track of it. Market research is really important. If you can keep it and use those tidbits to kind of fuel what you're writing, I think it just kind of flows together.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go into the third one, right? So you said that you sold a high ticket item.
Yeah.
Right. And you said something that was key too. You said, well, I didn't just throw a high price tag on my service product. I had to actually add some value to it. So tell us a little bit about that journey, how you decided what was valuable, what the price should be.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So, I mean, as far as like what's valuable. I mean, obviously we understand that value is kind of relative, so to speak, right? But for me, I knew that the course service that I provide helps people make lots of money, right? So it helps people. Creating a course or selling a course can make people a lot of money, right? So the return on investment for me was going to be high, pretty much almost whatever price I priced it at, because it was going to return some value. But as far as like figuring out how to actually like package your offer so that it's valuable, you have to ask people what it is that they want. What are the things that they really don't want to do? You know, people many times over told me in my market research, like, you know, era of just people would say, oh, I really don't want to put this on a platform. I really don't want to choose a platform. I'm really like not technology based or not focused on technology. So that was, I realized something that people really did. They felt like they needed to do in order to charge a high price for a course, but they weren't either willing or able to do it themselves. So that was one of the, sorry, I have like a hair in my face. That was one of the you know, to kind of, you know, package it and add value to it. The other thing too that I think I add as far as value is being able to write outlines and write courses. Again, this is something that I do in my day job. And it's something that I think entrepreneurs get overwhelmed with because they're not writers. They're not professional writers. Usually people aren't professional writers, or they need help like figuring out what goes first. I know my content, but how do I package it in a way that is going to, you know, speak to the person I'm trying to help? And so knowing your content is not the same as teaching the content. And so since I have a background in that, I knew that was valuable. So that's kind of how I thought about it. I thought about my expertise and basically like listen to the people who I pitched it to as to like what their needs were and added that in there. So that's how I packaged my offer. And long story short.
Awesome. So guys, what she's saying is, in order to make, and there's like this image that's flying around social media, right? And it talks about if you want to make $1 million, this is how many products at a certain value you have to sell, right? And what Adrienne is saying is her sweet spot, how she was successful in making $45,000 in 3 months with her new product and her new launch was by that route that's a little bit further up or further down, which is basically sell to fewer people at a higher price. Don't just slap a high price tag on it, really make it something valuable. And the other thing that Adrienne has taught us is that online products work, which we all know. And she said something key that was one to many, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have a one-on-one service, you can make a certain amount of money, but it's just you providing that service to other people. One to many, you can build that same thing and sell it to many, many people. So Adrienne, if I come to you and say, Adrienne, I am a realtor in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and I want to build a product for someone. I want to build an online product. I want to build a course. What do I do? How do I do that?
That's a really great question. You just mean like how can they, like, what are the first steps that they need to take?
Yeah, should I do it, and how do you know someone should build a course, and then what would be the next step to do it?
This is great. I actually just did a training on like how to know when you're ready to create a course. And so yes, it's free.
How do they find that training?
What'd you say?
How do they find that training?
Yes, it's on Crowdcast. Actually, I can go ahead and send you guys the link to it soon. Awesome. Excuse me, it's on Crowdcast. But like one of the main things is that you have to know your business, right? Which realtors do, right? They're very clear on who it is that they help and what they do. That's the first thing. You have to know what you want to teach, right? So you have to have an idea that's not just like cloud in the sky, but like it's really going to help the people that you're speaking to. And I guess for other realtors, they'd probably be creating courses for either people who are interested in purchasing a home or other realtors, I'm guessing. So let me know if that's all right.
Either or, yeah.
Yeah, so like it matters who you're speaking to, right? So if you can figure out what the issue is that these people are having, let's say you realize that people who are wanting to buy a home hire a realtor and they realize that they need to, they need to find the best home. I'm just using it as an example. They need to find a home in the best area for their kids or something. How does one go about doing that? What are the different steps that they need to take in order to follow that process? So it has to be a process based. So the type of courses that I do are transformational courses. So for realtors, it could be like more of a how-to course. And so that's something that, just depends, like, can people follow a process to get to this transformation, whatever that is. So if it's like buying a home, buying $1 million home, maybe someone like me wants to like figure out how to buy $1 million home. I'm afraid to do it.
That.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's something that's like, if someone like me would be curious and interested in like, okay, how do I actually do this? What do I need to have in place? The other thing to do is, especially with like licensed professionals, I see this a lot, like make sure that any course that you're considering is like official and okay to do as a licensed professional, because I see attorneys, therapists, all that want to create courses. And I think sometimes, depending on the type of professional you are, you might need to have like an ethics attorney or something in place to kind of make sure that you're not selling something that's going to get like possibly allow you to lose your license. So that's the other thing to consider is that. So, but yeah, like, I mean, courses are great as long as you have an idea, what you're doing is above board. You're ready to kind of help people like solve a problem. Like if you find yourself repeating yourself a lot, that's a good indication that you probably need to create a course or some type of training or learning on that topic. So there's lots of different great ways to kind of learn how to like actually create a course. And now I'm rambling, but you get the point.
Yeah, I love that. Guys, if people are asking you the same questions over and over again, if they're saying, oh my gosh, how do I build, your family, friends, clients are saying, how do I build a website? Guess what? Make a course on how to build a website. If they're asking you how to bake cookies, right? I have a client she's the cookie lady. Build a course on how to design cookies for kids. If you are a realtor and people are asking you how to buy $1 million home, build a course. You don't have to charge for it, right? Because you get paid other ways, but it could be information or an opt-in for your business.
Absolutely. And courses are great, and great ways to get people. You'll realize that the people, especially if you're a realtor and you're trying to offer something that might be like free, because obviously you're getting paid on the other end of a sale. It's a great way to figure out who's serious and who's not, right? So if you have people who are coming to you who may not be necessarily in the market for a house right now, or they might be in a place where they're just not sure if they're ready, give them this information, see if they follow through with it, and then you'll have better information as to whether or not you should spend time, working with them as a client. So there are all different ways to do that. So I think courses can be great for everybody.
Yeah. Do you have any preferred platforms that you would tell people to start building a course with?
Oh yeah. I like Thinkific. So I personally use Thinkific. Yeah, I like Thinkific. I'm a Thinkific partner, so I just have to make that disclaimer. So I set my clients up through Thinkific most of the time. I like Thinkific. I think it's great for learners. And I think, there are a lot of great platforms out there. I just think Thinkific is very robust. And especially if you're doing like Zoom calls or whatever, something like that. Thinkific has a Zoom integration, which I'm super, super excited about. But yeah, I think Thinkific is great for learners. So, and early.
Yes. So we have Gersha Porter. She's here. She's a realtor in Baltimore, Maryland. She's so good. Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Gersha. Adrienne, thank you so much for joining us today. This was like, of course, special place in my heart because you are Schmilly, right? Yes. And then also thanks for like just taking time out of your busy schedule to share all this content with my tribe.
Totally. This has been a dream. I love this StreamYard thing. I would love to come back. Just holler at me. Yes, if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out.
How do they find you? How do we find you, Adrienne?
Totally. So I have a Facebook group. We're all on Facebook here. So I have a Facebook group called the Springboard Society. And it's a pretty chill group. I like try to do Q&A every couple of weeks. And you can literally just drop your question in and people vote on it. And the top 3 questions get answered. And I have some new like trainings coming up here for that. So Facebook is the best way to get a hold of me. I have an Instagram, but I don't really use it very much. And so, but yeah, Instagram is probably not the best way. Facebook is the best way to get a hold of me. So feel free to add me and join Springboard Society.
Awesome. Thank you again, Adrienne. You guys check out the Springboard Society. Check out Adrienne. If you have any questions about courses and tech and all that good stuff, she is the guru.
Thank you so much. This has been great. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Have a good weekend.